Thank you very much for joining us for our Sustainability in Agriculture and Business MSc online open event. So this evening we have prepared a presentation for you where hopefully you'll learn a little bit more about this programme and as well what it is to study at SRUC through the online distance learning delivery. So my name is Anna Garcia. I am one of the Marketing and Student Recruitment Officers here at SRUC, and this evening we've got our programme leaders, Dr. Robin Walker and Dr. Lou Ralph, who will be delivering the presentation for you. And then at the end, we will have some time for questions as well. So just to kind of remind you how this works. So basically, we can see obviously that you are joining us online, but we cannot hear you or see you. So if you have any questions or if you've got any problems during the presentation, please use your Q&A section of your screen. And as I said, after the presentation, we will be going through any sort of questions that you might have as well. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Robin, who will be delivering the presentation just now.
Well, Lou actually, but
oh, Lou, sorry.
Sorry.
Got confused there. Sorry.
Okay. Hi there, my name's Lou, and I'm one of the leads for our new postgrad programme in Sustainability in Agriculture and Business. So this is a part-time online distance learning programme, and we're just going to take you through a few slides to tell you a bit about it. Robin, can you move on, please? So our degrees are validated by the University of Glasgow. So that means that when you finish your qualification with us, as shown in the photos here, you will be awarded your degree at a graduation ceremony at the Bute Hall at the University of Glasgow. That's a really special day. Obviously, it's a way off at the moment, but really something to look forward to and to try and achieve. Okay, thanks, Robin. So you might have already looked at our website and had a look at the fees. So hopefully you can see on the slide here that the fees are broken down into the postgraduate certificate, the postgraduate diploma, and the MSc project. And it's also possible to take individual modules and pay for those on a pro rata basis. So the funding differs slightly depending on whether you are based in Scotland or you're a rest of the UK applicant, and again, if you're an international student. So for the postgraduate certificate and postgraduate diploma, the fees are £3,500 per year if you're Scottish based, and £4,000 if you're from the rest of the UK, and £8,000 if you are based further afield. The master's project is £2,750 for all UK students and £4,500 for international students. It might be possible for you to get a part-time fee loan if you're studying for the postgrad diploma or MSc. This would be through the Scottish Student Awards Agency or equivalent outside Scotland. Other funding might be available, and our fees and funding officer can advise. I just want to point out that certainly if you're applying through SAS for funding, it's not available on the postgrad certificate. So that needs to be an application for PG, DIP or MSc in order to be eligible for the part-time fee loan. SRUC do have a bursary called the SRUC Change Your Path bursary, and this is available for mature students. So by that, it's if you are over 25 years of age on the 31st of August. It's for people who are retraining or planning on changing their careers. It's a bursary of £1,000 and it's available to people who are already enrolled on the programme. So you have to have applied and accepted your place and become enrolled before you can apply for that bursary. So in addition to the fee costs, there's also additional costs for study weekends when obviously you need to fund travel and accommodation at our Aberdeen campus. Could you switch slides, please, Robin? So you make your applications directly to SRUC via our webpage. If you go onto the webpage, you can find the Apply Now option. We have a shortcut to the webpage, which is www.sruc.ac.uk/SAB. And once you're on the website, you can toggle between the postgrad certificate, the postgrad diploma, or the MSc pages, as shown on the insert there in the corner of the slide. Could you move on, please, Robin? So the format of the programme is that it's a part-time online distance learning programme for which we follow what we call a blended approach. So that means that we do have study weekends at our Aberdeen campus, and we will hold these in September and January. And the induction weekend for this year will be held on the 6th to the 8th of September. And the one in January is in mid-January. So we often get asked what happens if students are not able to attend these study weekends. We do highly recommend them because they are really excellent experience and really contribute to your learning on the programme. But if you're unable to attend, then we do run our classroom-based sessions as hybrid sessions via our virtual classroom, which means that you can actually link in from wherever you happen to be and join in the class. And we also record those, and we also do our best to record all our field trips and make those available for students to watch afterwards. Could you move on, please, Robin? So what about our entry requirements? We are reasonably flexible in these. We do accept applications from people who have got an honours degree or equivalent in a relevant subject area, but we also welcome applications from people who have got degrees in a wider range of disciplines and or who have relevant experience and can show us that they've got a real motivation for studying the programme. So we have, for our postgrad programmes, welcomed applicants who've done all sorts of things, who are all sorts of ages and stages. And what we do is look at all the applications individually on their own merit. Because it's not an application through UCAS, the applications will come straight to the programme team, and we'll be able to look at those and discuss individual circumstances. Can you move on, please, Robin? Thanks. So the structure of the programme is broken down into the postgrad certificate, the postgrad diploma, and the master's programme. So the master's itself is achieved over 3 years of part-time study. The postgrad diploma is 2, and the postgrad certificate is 1 year. So year 1 for the postgrad certificate is made up of 4 modules. These are all at 15 credits on the Scottish Qualifications and Credits Framework. So you would do 60 credits in year 1. And this is comprised of 4 modules, 2 of which are core modules and 2 of which are elective modules. And we'll talk a bit more about that later in the presentation. The postgrad diploma adds another 4 modules onto that, so that you have 8 modules in total and 120 credits for the postgrad diploma. And that's another 2 core modules and 2 elective modules. And finally, the MSc is an independent research project, which adds another 60 credits, so that your master's in total would be 180 credits. And please note that these are all at the same academic level. The difference between these qualifications is in the number of credits, not the level that those credits are taught at. Could you move on, please, Robin? So the programme content, as I said, we have core modules and elective modules. So the core modules in year 1 are Principles and Policy for Sustainable Agriculture, in which what we're looking at is the development of different forms of sustainable agriculture, whether that's organic, whether it's agroecology, whether it's regenerative, how these different sustainable systems have developed, how they relate to each other, whether they have clear definitions, whether they have standards, whether they have principles, and also the policy relating to those and how that might change in future. And we also have Soils in Sustainable Systems as a core year 1 module, because we feel really strongly that if you don't think about the soil, then nothing else is really going to work, because soils really underpin what happens in agricultural systems. In year 2, our core modules are Global Challenges in Agricultural Systems. So that's really looking at topical issues relating to agriculture. And we'll expect students to do an in-depth critical analysis of a chosen topic relating to agricultural systems. And we also have a core research, design and analysis module, and that's really important in the build up to the master's year in year 3. And all of these core modules will take place in the term September to January. The second semester is January through to May, and examples of our elective modules are crops in sustainable systems, livestock in sustainable systems, principles of marketing and communication, sustainable entrepreneurship, and financial management and business planning for sustainability objectives. And in addition to that, it's also possible to choose elective modules from other distance learning postgrad programs that we run here at SRUC. Something else that I should also mention is that although you would apply for a particular level of award, whether that's postgrad certificate, postgrad diploma or master's, it is possible to progress between awards. So for example, if you apply for the postgrad certificate, you could apply to progress through to postgrad diploma, and the same between postgrad diploma and master's level. Particularly between year 2 and year 3, there are progression standards which apply, which are laid down by the University of Glasgow. But conversely, it's also possible that should you enrol on, for example, a master's, but then something happens which means you can't continue with the 3-year programme, you could then opt to leave the programme with a lesser award of either PG Dip or postgrad certificate. So we do have quite a lot of flexibility from that point of view. And our main aim really is that all students would gain the optimum level of award for their circumstances, whether that's more or less than they had anticipated with their initial application. Could you move on, please, Robin? So in terms of the programme duration, at the sort of basic level, it's postgrad certificate for a year, postgrad diploma for 2 years, and master's for 3 years part-time study. But the University of Glasgow regulations allow a maximum of 4 years to complete either the postgrad certificate or the postgrad diploma from your point of first enrolment, and up to 6 years to complete the master's. So that means that if you start your study with us and then decide that you need to take some time out, for personal reasons, for employment reasons, or for financial reasons, then you can take some time out and come back to complete your qualification, as long as you do that within the stipulated time frame. Could you move on, please, Robin? So in terms of time commitment, there are the study weekends in Aberdeen, which occur twice a year. If you complete the Masters, then there will be online study sessions for the Masters, which usually occur on weekdays. And we recommend approximately 15 hours a week of self-directed study. Now, we're hoping to have a student join us on the call later on. And if that is the case, then he will tell you whether that's actually the case or not. But 15 hours a week is sort of what we recommend to people prior to them starting. Could you move on, please, Robin? So in terms of the awards you'll get, just to reiterate, year 1 is a postgraduate certificate, which is 4 taught modules. If you opt for 2 years of study and a postgrad diploma, that's another 4 taught modules, so 8 in total. And if you opt for the 3-year study for the Master of Science, then that's the 8 taught modules plus a research project. So please note that if you apply for the Master of Science, it's not automatic that you'll be awarded a postgraduate certificate and postgrad diploma, but those are fallback options if something happens and you're not able to continue all the way through to your final year of study. So for the second half of the presentation, I'd like to pass over to my colleague, Robin, who will take you through a bit more information, and then we'll have more question time at the end. Thank you.
Hi, so as we've already established, the program's split into 2 main teaching blocks. So the September through to January being the first semester, and then the January through to May being the second semester. And the pictures along the bottom here are just an example of some of the activities that have taken place on some of the study weekends over the last year or 2. So I shall just move on. We also use Moodle as our virtual learning environment. Some of you may have used something called Blackboard or similar, but it's a similar type of approach. So Moodle is the virtual learning environment that we use for our online information. So as you can see here in the image in the center, there's lots of kind of tiles that let you kind of delve into further information. So that's where we base all our module content. We also use something called Kaltura, which is our virtual classroom. So if we have either totally online sessions or the hybrid sessions, we would tend to use Kaltura, and it's a little bit like using Zoom or Teams, but it's in this setting linked to all the information that we have through Moodle on there. You'll also be able to access general student information, the online library information as well. So we have access to a much greater range of journals and publications that you maybe would be able to access if you were just doing a Google search or something like that. So that's really quite useful. And there's lots of other general background information which you may find helpful. For example, and I'm not sure if you can see the point mouse here, but help and support, there's levels that you can go into there as well. So obviously, in terms of a distance learning, the learning strategy is slightly different than maybe if you were coming on campus and doing a campus-based course. So definitely is an element of self-directed study in here, because although we have online sessions fairly regularly for the different modules, again, at this level, at the postgraduate level, self-directed study is a core point. So we'll point you in the right direction and get you going, and then you go off and start delving into the information and critically analysing that yourselves. There's going to be a lot of reading as well. We will try and improve your academic writing, which may already be very good if you've certainly if you've recently done an academic course. But if you've been away for a while, and quite a few of our distance learning students, particularly at postgrad level, maybe haven't done that. So we'll try and steer you in the right direction in terms of improving academic writing. Critical analysis is an absolutely key part of what we're wanting you to do. So we're wanting you to critically analyze information, not just take it at face value. So that's a big area that we'll be helping you work through and build up those skills during the whole, basically most of the modules that you'll be involved with. That is a key part of that. There'll be an element of presentation. So some of the modules maybe have to do a presentation as part of an assessment, for example. Certainly there'll be plenty of discussion. Obviously there's the assessments as well. So there'll be a range of assessments that you'd be using, ranging from essays through to scientific posters or a whole heap of different ones, depending on what the module is. And then there's online tutorials. So these are going to spread again through the individual modules, and they'll be set up right at the start, so you'll have an idea of when they are, with a little element of flexibility to tweak when those take place, depending on various criteria. So we mentioned the study weekend as well. So there's another set of pictures from a different study weekend there. So we have in the center, we have some work on soils. The left-hand side here is when there's a vertical farm, local vertical farm that we visited a couple of years ago. And on the right-hand side, it looks like we're in a crop of oilseed rape, I think. So it's probably an organic oilseed rape crop. But these study weekends are a great opportunity to meet staff and fellow students. It's certainly, particularly in the September one, the very first one that you would be doing, it's a really good opportunity to introduce you to new modules and the assessments, and just get you heading in the right direction. And as the pictures below show, it's a really good opportunity to visit farm and industry, and we'll also get specialists coming in from the farming local farms and industry as well, to maybe do speaks or talks and things like that as invited speakers. And occasionally we will get them to come and do an online session, like a webinar type thing as well during the season, depending on the particular topic that we're talking about. And also the study weekends are a really good way of networking, not only with your fellow students and your lecturers, but also some of the specialists that come in, and it's just generally good fun. So what is needed for a good learning experience, particularly in terms of the online approach, which this course is, distance learning approach? Reliable access to the internet is pretty important. You need a suitable browser such as Chrome or Firefox. You also need access to a computer or device with a microphone and preferably a camera. It's really nice actually when we have an online session that you can actually see the people that you're talking to. I know it's not strictly body language, but you can get a flavour of how things are going just by seeing the people on the screen and the reactions to what's being said during discussions, etc. Also really useful to have an understanding or basic knowledge of Microsoft packages or similar things like OpenOffice, but certainly things like Word, Excel and PowerPoint as a sort of a basic sort of core set of products that you maybe would be using for your course. So fairly standard. Also, you need a quiet space dedicated for your learning. So you definitely need to be able to sort of squirrel yourself away and just focus and concentrate. It's quite difficult if it's very noisy, lots of activity going on. So definitely need to be able to try and find that quiet space, that quiet time to be able to dedicate to your learning, as well as having the time and the motivation to do that. So that's really important that you really want to do it, and that will help drive you forward. I was talking earlier about having this critical analysis of information. So having an open mind is definitely a plus, to be able to do that properly. But also you need to have a desire to learn and succeed as well. So we want you to succeed, but you also need to want yourself to succeed to get to the end and get a good award at the end of it. Also really important to communicate. So if there's struggles or things are going on that we're not aware of, we just assume everything's fine. If there's a problem, the sooner you can let us know, the better, and we can try and work out the best way to be able to help you to get through whatever the issue may or may not be. And again, we also have a range of specialist support staff who can help in certain situations depending what the issue may be. But certainly speak to us, and we will try and find the best route to help and move things forward in a positive way. Which leads me on to the student support team. So we have education support, we have pastoral support, we also have specialists in careers and advice service, and also we have people who specialise in fees and funding, and Lou touched on some of those already when she spoke through her part of the presentation, but we've got people that can help in all of these general areas. So again, the communication side, let us know if there's a problem, and we can, if we can't deal with it ourselves directly, when there's a team in the background who we can use to lend that support, who's specialists in those particular areas. Also, because the information and the activities that you're going to do are primarily going to be online, and also you'll be signing through an SRUC, or you'll have an SRUC internet account and email account and access through the portal, the IT portal. We have IT staff who will be on hand to steer you through that and make sure that you can log on properly, etc., and that all the things are working as they should be. Similarly, we've got library service as well, so they will be able to help you access information and various databases for the key texts that you may be wanting to see, or peer-reviewed papers or things like that, which you wouldn't necessarily be able to access if you just did a Google search. So they are very helpful, and they are open to phone calls, emails, etc., and steer you in the right direction to find out what it is you're particularly looking for in terms of information. And just basically just ask us for any additional support on request. If we don't know about it, there's not much we can do. If we know about it, at least we can try and help you. So Lou at the top there is a co-lead of the program, and then myself at the bottom there is the other co-lead of the program, and our contact details are both there. We're both based at SAUC Aberdeen at the Craveston campus, but obviously most of the time it will be us or fellow lecturers who will be teaching you using the Moodle and the Kaltura system that I mentioned earlier. But the study weekends would always be based, or at least the ones specifically linked to the the SAB course will be based in Aberdeen. Occasionally, if you were to do one of the electives from one of the other master's programs, it's possible that there may be a study weekend out with the standard ones at near one of the other campuses in Fife, for example. So in terms of methods of assessment, the postgraduate certificate and the postgraduate diploma, so the taught modules, as Lou's mentioned, there's 4 taught modules in year 1. 2 of those are core and 2 of them are electives. And similarly in year 2, there's 4 taught modules, and again 2 of those are core modules and 2 of those are electives. All of them are 100% coursework, so there's no exams. You don't have to sit down and scribble your answers on a piece of paper or anything like that. It's all through coursework. In terms of the masters in the 3rd year, to get to that, the progression is dependent on the overall grade achieved in the postgraduate diploma. So you don't automatically have access to that. You need to have got to a certain standard before you can do that. But assuming you've got to that stage, then basically your assessment is a project proposal. So you're saying this is the research project that I want to do. So then you come up with a research question and how you're going to do that, and then you go off and do the work, and you'll be given a supervisor who's a specialist in that general topic area, and then you will write it all up as a dissertation, and then you'll have to do a short presentation as well to the rest of the group, and that's how that is assessed. And then here is just a selection of basically just feedback from some of the students that we've had over the years from our distance learning courses, our postgrad distance learning courses. And I'm not going to read through them all, but basically they're very positive, and they've gained a lot from doing the courses this way, and many of them have moved on to bigger and better things as a result of that. So it's really nice when we get really positive feedback from students. So I think that's me.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Robin, and Lou as well. So as we mentioned, so this is basically your time now. If you've got any questions regards the presentation or any questions regarding the course, feel free to use the Q&A section of your screen. As Lou had mentioned, we were going to have one of our distance learning students coming to talk, but unfortunately is having some technical problems. So if you ever want to sort of hear firsthand what it is to do online distance learning or doing a postgraduate qualification with SRUC, make sure you visit the virtual experience section of our website. It's got loads of content there from previous students and current students as well, just so you can see what it is to study with SRUC. So we do have a couple of questions here. So Joan here is asking, you mentioned that you can still apply should you not hold a degree. If this is the case, what things are accepted as relevant experience in place of this?
I'll go first. So what we'll be looking for would be preferably some degree of experience in the agricultural sector. So that wouldn't necessarily be the sustainable agriculture sector, but to show that you've got some experience in kind of the land-based sector or in relevant agribusiness. You got anything you'd like to add to that, Robin?
No, that's basically it. As long as you've got a strong you can provide strong evidence from that you've got experience in that general sort of area, and we're not necessarily talking about 2 or 3 years, significant experience. And also we follow up references as well, so the references from the people that you put forward to say yes, you'd be good at doing this course, we'd take note of that, because that gives us a really strong feel for the level of experience and whether you're likely to be a good fit to the course as well, and that it's likely to suit you.
And can I just also add to that, please, if you're thinking of applying and completing an application form, please put in as much information as you can in both the personal statement and the previous experience sections, because that's much easier for us then to sort of get a handle on, what you're going to bring to the application. And if those bits are missing, then we probably just end up following up with you anyway. So please do just put as much information as you can into the application form. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. So the next one we've got here says, how many places are there on the course and how many applicants would you expect?
Well, it's the first time we've done this particular course, but we would hope to get 15 students as a start. And we're likely to probably cap it at about 25. So we would hope somewhere between 15 and 25, but we don't honestly know. But it's not likely to be very more than that. So 25 is probably the maximum, but we'd hope to get at least 15. And that actually helps when it comes to kind of the discussions and things like that, rather than having just a few people. It really adds, because you get a broader breadth of people's thoughts and ideas going into the mix, and it helps kind of stimulate discussion.
And actually, something that we probably haven't said is if there's a closing date for applications. So we would hope to have all our applications in by the middle of August. Obviously, if students apply later than that, then we'll do our best to process applications. If you apply really late, then it could potentially mean that you start the programme without having all the IT systems in place, because the IT department need a bit of time to get those kind of things sorted out. So if you're thinking of applying, then aim for application by mid-August.
Perfect, thank you. The next question says, what different areas of farming are covered?
There's several ways you could approach that in terms of Lou had already mentioned we would tend to use organic as a baseline because of the legal kind of definition of that, but we certainly would be touching on things like regen agriculture, agroecology, biodynamic as well to some extent, integrated pest management as well, and looking at how they kind of differ, the different type of farming systems differ. If you're looking at the electives, obviously we have soils, we've talked about that as a core module, but we have electives in terms of cropping, so there'll be a focus on sustainable cropping, or livestock one, sustainable livestock, etc. So depending on how that question was meant to be framed, there's several answers, so hopefully I've at least covered the ones that you maybe were expecting, whoever asked that question.
Okay. Yeah, if obviously the person does ask that question, if you've got anything else to sort of add, that's fine. I think that's pretty much all the questions that we have just now. I would probably just go and sort of end the session just now. If anyone else who's watching us this evening, if you've got any other questions after you sort of go away and think a little bit more about it, feel free to email us at study@sruc.ac.uk. So that will usually come to myself or the student recruitment team, and if we can't help, we'll obviously pass it over to Robin and Lou, who'll be happy to sort of assist in case if you're sort of thinking about applying and still a bit unsure. We'll be happy to help. So just would like to thank everyone for being with us this evening, for everyone that is logged in and has also emailed but not been able to join us, but everyone that has signed up for the session will receive the link this week with the recording of the session, and as well will be made available on our YouTube channel. I think there's just a last question. I'll just go ahead and read that before we finish up. There's one question here from Victoria that says, do you interview applicants?
No, we don't routinely interview applicants. If there's something about an application which makes us think that we need a bit more information, or there's some, information missing, or something's not clear, then we will potentially follow that up, but we don't routinely interview applicants. We do, however, always take up referees.
And it's certainly not like a formal process where there's 3 people at the other end quizzing the applicant. It's a chat, basically, just to get a flavour of where you're coming from, and we'll answer where we're coming from as well. So it's not like a grilling. It's a chat to just make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Great, perfect. I hope that's helped, Victoria. So, yeah, if no one else has got any further questions for now, thanks again for joining us this evening. As I said, you will receive on your email the link for the recording of the session. And as I said as well, it will be made available on our YouTube channel. And any questions in the meantime, email us at study@sruc.ac.uk. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.